Hello everyone, my name is Amir Baldawi. Quick story, or a quick background I should say about myself. I have a master's in engineering management and a bachelor's in electrical engineering, and I am obsessed with science. And I want to share with you a quick story that changed my life forever. It all started in high school. In high school, I was obsessed with building a machine that could create energy from nothing. I kept trying, but never worked. And then in college, I took Physics 1 and finally understood why. And I remember my professor writing on the chalkboard the law of conservation of energy. By the way, I do apologize about my handwriting, but I really can't help it. So, the law basically states that energy cannot be created or destroyed, only transferred or changed. Again, energy cannot be created or destroyed, only transferred or changed. That blew my mind. To understand this law better, I think it's best we give an example. If we look at a car, the most common car burns gasoline, right, as a source of energy. That fossil fuel came from fossilized plants and animals that were buried millions of years ago, right? Those plants got energy from sunlight. The sun shines because of nuclear fusion, which happens in stars made from hydrogen gas. That gas came from the early universe after the Big Bang. So if we quickly look at it, so your car, let's use a different color, gets the energy from fossil fuels, right? And we said fossil fuels come from animals and plants. So animals got their energy from plants, right? And again, this process, not a single joule of energy was destroyed, only transferred or changed, right? The plants get their energy from the process called photosynthesis. So they get their energy from the sun. Well, the sun, as we talked, is made of nuclear fusion. Before the sun, it was gases, right? And before that was the Big Bang. And we'll talk more about this in detail. So again, not a single joule of energy was destroyed, according to the law of conservation of energy. Only transferred or changed, which is mind-blowing, because if you think about it, your car moves because of ancient sunlight, right? Which came from a star made from gas that exploded into being about 13.8 billion years ago. So next time you pump fuel or gas in your car, remember that energy is ancient energy, right? And it's very important to understand how that law works. And you could apply this to any example you want. And you will see that energy is not being destroyed, but only transferred. The big question is, we trace back to the Big Bang. And the question is, what caused that? And that's where science hits a wall. So science says everything, space, time, matter, and energy began at the Big Bang. But science also says, remember, that energy cannot be created. So what created all the energy in the first place? So we were talking about the law of conservation of energy. Then we left off with the Big Bang. And then we asked the question, what created all that energy in the first place? I want to take you to what the Qur'an said 1400 years ago. Surah 21, verse 30. This verse changed my life and changed how I look at science and how I look at faith. So the verse states, "Don't those who disbelieve see that the heavens and the earth were a joint entity, and we split them apart. And it goes and says, and we made from water every living thing. Will not they believe? A single joint entity, split apart. That's exactly what science describes in the Big Bang Theory. And the Quran also states in the verse that life began from water, something biology confirmed centuries later. And remember, the Quran was revealed to Prophet Muhammad, a person that didn't know how to read or write. And this one ayah by itself is mind-blowing, scientifically speaking. And I'll share with you one more ayah in this video that's related. So, I want to share with you one more ayah. And that ayah is related again to the Big Bang. And if you recall, before the sun was formed, it was made from gases, according to the Big Bang. And in the Quran, 41:11 says, Then he turned to the heaven when it was smoke, and said to it, and to the earth, Come willingly or unwillingly. They said, We come willingly. And it's a very powerful verse, because the Quran describes the early universe as smoke, a hot, gaseous state. Again, a match to what scientists say. The early universe was filled with hot plasma and gas before stars even existed. So before the sun was created or existed, there was hot gases. And again, very powerful ayah. And I want to say that science explains how things work, but it can't explain why they exist or who started it all. For me, personally, asking where energy came from led to the Big Bang, which led me to the Quran. Science didn't push me away from my faith, but it got me closer. And in the Quran, those two ayahs that I shared, till this day, blow my mind. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something. And hopefully in the next video, I'll talk about a different subject.